What's going on, guys? Chaseontwowheels here, and today we have a very important question to answer. Is having 3 wheels on the Yamaha Niken actually better than the 2 we have on the rest of the bikes on the market? Yeah, long story short, it actually is. So we should probably explain why the 3 wheels are better, but first we gotta talk about a sponsor so I can pay the crew. So let's talk about those guys real quick.
So guys, and I literally mean guys this time, sorry ladies, this product isn't going to be any good for you, but this video is sponsored by Keeps. Keeps is a company that has revolutionized the way men are able to treat their hair loss, and with 2 out of 3 guys experiencing some form of hair loss by the age of 35, it's great to have a company like Keeps in the game now, especially after seeing all those shots of me working on the bikes and looking at the back of my head. Yeah, sometimes I read comments about Chase is losing hair, and I worry a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Well, that's why I was excited to work with Keeps, because they focus on preventing hair loss, which is why I'm glad they're sponsoring a video now, so I have a better chance at keeping the hair that I actually got. You can meet with doctors online and get medications delivered straight to your house. This stuff is 90% effective at reducing and stopping further hair loss. The other good news is that Keeps treatments start at just $10 a month, but for a limited time you can get 40% off of your first order. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/chase to receive 40% off your first order. That's KEEPS.com/chase. Big thanks to Keeps for sponsoring this video and allowing me to pay the crew to help me make this video. Also, big shout out to any of you guys that check out Keeps or any of the other sponsors that I do on this channel. You guys that check them out allow me to do more sponsorships, which allow me to make better content for you guys, so I really appreciate it.
So we're all familiar with the Yamaha Niken, which is basically a Tracer 900 with a lot of extra stuff going on up front. It's also probably no surprise, with having 2 front tires, you get a few things like increased grip from having 2 tires touch the ground, better braking thanks to the 2 independent brake calipers, and a more diversified contact patch. That way, if one tire hits gravel or a puddle or loses traction, the other tire won't necessarily be in the same location. This all translates to a more confident style of riding. What most people don't understand is how the hell this thing actually works, so let's figure it out. First off, let's talk about forks. Obviously, we've got 4 here on the Niken, 2 per tire, but these forks, they're not identical. The front forks are filled with only oil and are there to control the steering of the bike as well as load distribution. The rear fork is the one that handles the shock absorption and the rebound and is built like a regular fork with fluid and springs, similar to the forks you see on a regular 2-wheel bike. The reason they have an extra fork is to help distribute the lateral load of steering the motorcycle. You'd have to imagine if there were only 1 fork per tire, it would want to rotate and get all types of squirrely. Also, without a traditional axle running from the bottom of the fork through the tire into the other fork, you're going to need added rigidity and support, which is what you get from having that second fork per tire. Alright, so now let's talk about the steering on this thing and all the witchcraft Yamaha is using to make that happen. This is done by what Yamaha calls a leaning multi-wheel system, or LMW, and it's based on the Ackerman principle. This is a lot of scientific talk though, so I'm going to shorten it down to LMW ASP, also referred to as Loom Wasp. These 3 parallel things allow the bike to lean side to side while maintaining the same distance between the front 2 tires, as my associate Patrick will now point out. Patrick?
Nope.
Yep, okay.
Hey, we're on you, Patrick.
Oh, we're rolling.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yep, my bad. So here are the 3 parallel arms that make up the front steering geometry on the Yamaha Niken GT. Arms 1, 2, and 3. Now these top 2 arms make up the parallelogram linkage, and the bottom arm is the steering tie rod. Now that means nothing to you guys without some sort of explanation of all these crazy components, so if you could, consider the following. Arm 1, or the upper arm of this parallelogram linkage, not only moves laterally side to side, but is also connected to the forks on the outside via dual steering heads. Now this arm is extremely important. It's connected to both of those forks because without it, it would be unable to maintain its position relative to the rest of the suspension as it moves through lock and lean angles. Arm 2 is the lower half of our parallelogram linkage. This arm specifically helps maintain articulation as well as aids in bump absorption. Now that can most prevalently be seen when one of the 2 front wheels comes in contact with a bump or a hole in the road, and this arm is going to maintain the unaffected wheel's lean angle and path of travel. Finally, bar 3 is the steering tie rod. A tie rod, for those who have never heard the term before, is a linkage that goes from rider input to actually manipulating the front forks, in our case via a steering shaft. Now, this bar is the one you're actually manipulating when you're turning your handlebars left and right, and although it is mounted independently of the parallelogram linkage, is extremely important as those two pieces work very close together to maintain lean angle and steer. All right, everybody, that was a brief explanation of how Yamaha designed the Niken and the Niken GT to not only lean and steer properly like a normal motorcycle, but somehow used all sorts of crazy witchcraft to make it work. Now, back to you, Chase.
We're still on you, Patrick?
Thanks for that explanation, Patty Rick. So as you guys saw, the 3 bars in the front, or the parallelogram linkage, all remain parallel with each other no matter your lean angle or steering input. And it all culminates to a really unique riding experience, but how does it feel?
Honestly, the experience you get on this thing is really similar to a regular motorcycle. The only slight difference you're gonna feel is a little more traction when you've got the bike leaned over like we are right now. I feel like if you put a regular rider just on this bike and they weren't able to see the front, they wouldn't have any way of telling that this bike has 2 front tires instead of the 1 front tire like other bikes do have.
It's also important to note this bike will not stand up on its own or self-balance. When you're pulling the bike over, you do still have to use the kickstand. Honestly, it's really cool to see a manufacturer doing some out-of-the-box stuff like Yamaha is doing with the Niken and the Niken GT. Hopefully this video gives you guys a better understanding of all the stuff going on to make this thing what it is and give it the really cool riding experience that you get when you're on it. If you guys enjoyed this deep dive video, let us know in the comments, and if you guys have any ideas for other deep dive videos we could do, let us know, and if we can do it, we will make it happen. As always, like the video if you liked it, because if you don't, we'll probably cry ourselves to sleep, and consider subscribing, because motorcycles. I'm Chaseontwowheels, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later. Me putting a helmet on awkwardly in front of lots of people.
Oh look, the camera car. Look, outro crew, hold on, look, let's catch up to the camera car. As I try to catch up to the camera car, you guys can let us know. That was a shorter video about a deep diving topic, but if you guys want us to sit down and do like a chase chat, let us know. And we'll try to make it happen. That's the camera car, check it out. We caught up, woohoo! Hey, the Niken's faster than a Jeep Compass, would you look at that?
Dink memes. Melt steel beams. Dab on them posts.